All right, let's go. Wakey wakey. Oh boy. Let's go. Let's go. Huh? How are we doing? Boy, are we just the chat just exploded all at once. all four comments just showed up at once. Let's see. Bucks Rays, how you doing? Damien, Chucky, and Brady on the same line. No, I think I like it both. I think I like it separated because then that brings the juice to half the team. Meadow says poor Forsling and Reinhardt were both -1 last night. Awesome game anywhere. Anyways, I think any skepticism about the intensity should be gone now. That's true. In terms of Reinhardt, it helps to have line mates that actually might consider the possibility of maybe thinking about maybe kind of considering the very remote possibility that they might consider taking a chance and maybe passing the puck. McDavid just if the puck is on McDavid's stick, it's staying on his stick until he either scores or doesn't. He's not passing the puck to nobody. So Reinhardt's out there and Conor Marner too, right? That wasn't McDavid that dropped past. You notice Crosby had 3 assists, right? McDavid too worried about just playing playing all-star game hockey. Everybody else out there playing a hockey game. So I feel bad for Reinhardt. He's just kind of out there as a decoy. Worked on the power play though. But is what a good game though. Good game, a lot of fun. I was really surprised that to give you an idea of the level of interest, last night was the most people we've ever had on a stream, except for Game 7 against the Oilers. So that gives you an idea of the level of interest that the tournament has. And last year when we did the All-Star thing, I don't think we had a whole lot of people. Like I think we had fewer people for the All-Star competition and skills and all of that. I think we had fewer people than we would have for a normal Panther game. Where last night we were at 4 or 5 and then 600, and then it stayed at 600 the whole rest of the night. So obviously people were interested far more than anything else. Fly Guy says, I don't know. You don't know, Jaws, what? I mean, I'm just going by my numbers, just going by the numbers. We've only the only stream we had more people was the Super Bowl. We had 1,500 people. Fly Guy says, I think it has something to do with the NHL screwing us out of regular hockey. What do you mean? What do you mean? I liked it. And plus now my prediction that Rantanen was going to go to Vegas, the way has been cleared. Fly Guy says we can't watch the Panthers play. Well, yeah, but I mean on a normal Panther game, I got between 75 to 125 people on the stream, right? Normal Panther game. So we had 500 more than that last night. And that's not all Panther fans. That's I mean, I get what you're saying that other there was no other games on. I understand that part. But even when there was no other games on, like conference finals, Stanley Cup finals, at most we'd get maybe 200 or 300 people, and that's the finals and everything. They're removing our ability to watch what I rather be. I mean, I get what you're saying. But that's the argument for why viewership is down. You know what I mean? That your argument is valid. It's just that's the argument for why viewership is down in terms of like the regular season. I mean, it is a massive pain in the ass for Kyle and I I mean, I've got 2 or 3 different people that have to help me out with streaming accounts, and the ESPN Plus app sucks. It's horrible what they've done for out of market fans to just try to watch the game. I know it says great game last night. Hope USA versus Panthers. Sorry, Finland lives up to it, right? Dana, yeah, a lot of people on Twitter. Yeah, that's why I started paying for Twitter, because I'm going to be able to monetize that. I'll make more ad revenue on Twitter than I do on YouTube once I get that monetized. I just wanted to wait till I started having decent crowds. But yeah, there's a lot of people watching on Twitter. I guess some of the other people don't stream to Twitter, so it's kind of, I don't know. Maybe Twitter's promoting it better than YouTube. You would think after all these years I'd have 50 people on Twitter and 500 on YouTube, but it's opposite. So it is what it is. I just got to start monetizing it over on Twitter, and maybe leave links for people to leave donations and everything like that, because it's kind of been that way with the regular games. It's like we'll get 40 or 50 people on YouTube, and then 75 or 100 on Twitter. So it's all good. It's all good all the way around. Growth is growth. The only problem with getting that many people on Twitter is they don't subscribe. They don't subscribe. We had 650 people most of the night last night. Nobody new subscribed. Not one new subscriber. I'm like, damn it. Come on now. One. Fly Guy says, I'm big on Team Finland. I want the 4 Finns coming back buzzing. Yeah. Fly Guy says, Reinhardt and Benny are pretty monotone. They'll be all right regardless, right? Damon says, Jets officially don't have a quarterback. You want Rodgers as their backup? No. Nah. I don't want any. What I want, either they need to win the Super Bowl next year, or it needs to be so bad that everybody gets fired. Dana, to be honest with you, I don't know. I'm not even engaging on Twitter. I haven't even been going there and posting or anything like that. I just share the videos. So any traction I'm getting on Twitter is purely Twitter promoting the live stream. I'm doing nothing. I just don't have the time. So who knows how good it would be if I actually started promoting it, which I might need to start doing. But in terms of who's watching, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It just shows you the difference between Twitter and YouTube, right? I've killed myself on YouTube trying to promote, and they don't show the content to anybody new ever. And on Twitter, I'm not promoting anything, and they're showing it to all. If I'm getting 500 people on Twitter, they're showing it to probably 5,000. Steven says, I don't recall seeing Reinhold in overtime. Cooper doesn't know what he's doing, I guess. Yeah, it's a good point. They wanted all the big guy, McKinnon, McDavid. I guess they were going for the super faster guys. Although Crosby was out there, he's the one that, and Marner. Maybe he's got a little bit of anti-Florida bias. I don't know. I think he put Reinhardt with McDavid on purpose just to make Reinhardt look bad, because McDavid ain't passing the puck to anybody. If you think about it, he put the Panther and the Leaf with McDavid, right? And it took Crosby to pass the puck to Marner. I don't think McDavid passed the puck other than a power play. Anytime he touched the puck, he's just trying to do it all himself. Well, that's what I'm saying, Metal, is that you can't have keep our guys off the ice, right? You can't have a great night if nobody's passing you the puck. Like Reinhardt's used to playing with Barkov, right? And Barkov and McDavid about as 2 different players on the face of the earth as you can have. Reinhardt's going to get all the passes with Barkov. McDavid would have, if McDavid was falling down, there was only two guys on the ice, him and Reinhart, McDavid would still try to shoot the puck instead of passing it over to Reinhart. That's the thing. Kenneth says one game, one injury makes you nervous. But you think about it this way, Kenneth, like I said at the beginning, it clears the way for my prediction that Rantanen to Vegas is going to happen. They just put Theodore on LTIR. As soon as Rantanen sees that, he's going to tell the Canes, screw you, send me back to Colorado. Which I have a question. Anybody know the answer to this? I mentioned this in the members podcast that'll be out later. I don't know the answer to it. When Colorado made the trade, does anybody know if they could have made a stipulation, if they would wanted to tell Carolina that they can't flip Rantanen to a Western Conference team during the season or for this playoff run? Like, could they have done that? Because Colorado had to know that the possibility existed that Canes might flip Rantanen if they can't sign him. Does anybody know if it's legal that Colorado could have put a stipulation in there that says you can't trade Rantanen to a Western Conference team until at the very earliest after the season, which wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. You could really only trade his bargaining rights for like a week or whatever. But I thought about that because that move could really come back to bite Colorado. If Rantanen goes to Vegas, then he wants some revenge on the Avalanche for trading him. You know, because if you're Rantanen, why would you sign with Carolina? Kenneth says, I can't imagine you can. Probably not, because it would be too much fun, right, Kenneth? That would be fun. I'm sure it would have already happened at some point, right? If they could do it. Anybody remember the last time something like that happened? Has it ever happened? Pente says Vegas management is too smart. They ain't getting Rantanen. I figured they couldn't, Pente. It was a far out idea, right? I don't know, man. Vegas management is a little, they get a little Cocoa Puff sometimes. Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know if you can add a no trade clause or no move clause specific to certain teams if he doesn't have one already. Yeah, probably can't happen. Dennis says Vegas had to put someone on LTIR. I mean, who the first guy that gets hurt is the Vegas guy. Now, did he break it? Because all I saw was he's out for the rest of the tournament. But somebody had left the comment and the recap said he broke it. Is that official, or are they still not? Have they not released that information yet? When I looked this morning, Pente says too pricey. Well, yeah, I see what you're saying. The price to get him, sure. Yeah, I know they did the X-rays, which that's the thing that made me think. Well, when you watch his hand go, when you watch his hand hit, this part of his forearm, kind of, you see it like move in a very unnatural way, like almost like the bone was almost snapping a little bit. Obviously, I don't think it snapped completely, but it moved in an unnatural way. Hey, Matthew says, do I wish Brady didn't sign the extension and came to us for free? I mean, that would have been something else. Both guys on the same team. That would have been something else. But I think kind of Brady wants to do it on his own. You know what I mean? The brothers, they're going to always compete. And maybe, like I said before, towards the end, if Brady hasn't won it all on his own, maybe he want to come to Florida and try to win a cup with his brother towards the end. But I think right now Brady wants to be like, he wants to be the guy that knocks his brother out. Pente say, yeah, he broke it. Yeah. Yeah, the way it moved when I watched, like, that hurts. That's not natural. It's unfortunate because it wasn't that hard of a hit. It just, I mean, you see a lot harder hits. You know what I mean? He just braced himself. It's really a shame. Meadow says week to week, so it must be like a hairline type of thing. Yeah, he's out for the rest of the tournament for sure. Yeah, which I guess you can't. Canada can't, or nobody. I believe the rule is you can't add any players until you've had at least 3 injuries. And so what that means is that Canada only has 6 defensemen in all right now. So if somebody else gets hurt, that's only 2 players. So they won't be able to call up a defenseman. They would actually have to play with the extra forward on defense because you can't add anybody until you've had 3 people get hurt. And since they have 3 goalies and they made the roster so small, they can't, because a lot of people were thinking they were just going to call up Uyghur, but you can't add anybody, so the team has lost 3 players. Which it doesn't make any sense to make the rules that prohibitive in a tournament like this. Why not just have a couple of extra spots ready to go? Damien says, do we think Ekblad on LTIR with a fake upper body injury? Oh, he'd never do it. Ekblad would never do it. Right? The only way you'd convince Ekblad to go on fake LTIR is if you already signed him to his extension and gave him the money that he wanted. That might be the only way to do it. Zito say, hey, look, here's the deal, man. All right? We're going to give you 5 times 5. All right? Shut up about it. That's the best we can do. But here's what you got to do to get it. All right? Next time you go up into the boards, hurt your shoulder, come back off the ice holding your arm, you're out until the start of the playoffs so we can go get somebody. He might do it. I don't know. Benton says it looked like just a little push. Yeah, it wasn't even that bad, right? But guys were out there hitting. That does have me a little bit shaky about the United States versus Canada, and Finland in that part, because everybody that trusts Chucky to not hit Barkov or Lundell or Luosterainen or Mikkola tonight, everybody that trusts Kachuk to not do that, super chat $10,000 right now. Just saying. I don't trust him. Barkov doesn't trust him. He already said if anybody's going to do that, it's going to be Chucky, right? So I think the Kachuk brothers probably watched last night's game and said, oh, people are going to hit. We're going to hit? Okay, this is fun. USA versus Canada is going to be crazy. I think there's not going to be a lot of defense in that game. To be honest with you, I know the goaltenders are great and all of that, but I have a feeling there's not going to be a ton of defense. There's going to be a lot of physicality, a lot of back and forth, because the United States is going to have to know that, Canada is going to play hard that whole game. It's going to be a lot of fun. 8-7, something like that, something crazy. Kenneth says, so Vegas can gain 7.4 in cap space if they put the LTIR on until playoffs. What can that get you? Well, basically anybody in the league, if you can get them to retain half the salary, right? Draisaitl's the highest right now at 14, right? There's nobody higher than that, right? Not that they're going to go get Draisaitl, but basically that they can buy anybody with that kind of space because they just get the other team or do a 3-way deal, get 50% of the salary retained. Yeah. So that opens up that. Bente says Mikkola will put Kachuk over the boards. They got Mikkola on the top pair, too. That's going to be fun. It's going to be fun seeing Chucky out there versus like a quarter of the team, 4 guys, right? At any given moment, I wonder if they're at some point going to put Barkov, Lundell, and Luosterainen together as a line. Now, the only problem with Finland is Who's going to take the shots on the power play, right? And are they going to have Barkov, Lundell, and Luosterainen out there killing penalties? Stop, no blocking shots. Penta says, I would enjoy seeing that. Wouldn't mind him putting both brothers over the boards. It's going to be interesting just for sure. Metal says, Aho. All right, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so power play would definitely, yeah, Barkov will set up Aho. Damien says, imagine if the Oilers would have sucked last year and we would have got Draisaitl. The problem is you want too much money. You know, when you think about Barkov at $10 million as our highest paid player, and you look at the contracts that, you know, everybody else has gotten, we're going to be good for a long time. But yeah, Draisaitl would have been a hell of an addition, no doubt. But can't pay him. We can't really go get somebody that's going to break the salary structure that we got, right? Mikula will be the most physical D, right? Yeah. I'm really curious to see how Finland and Sweden go at it. Because you already know Finland's going to have a good structure. Sweden's defensive structure last night was surprisingly good for guys that, you know, just came together a few days before that or a week, but whatever, however long they even have a couple practices. They were really structured. They played pretty damn well last night considering Canada's firepower. Yeah, Metal says I wouldn't have minded getting Draisaitl as long as he accepts 8 by 7.75. Well, we'll see how long Edmonton, you know, how long Edmonton goes with that pair, right? It's like the Panthers got lucky with Tkachuk. The Barkov-Huberdeau thing just clearly wasn't quite going to be it. Just wasn't quite. I don't think we win a cup with Barkov-Huberdeau. Just we needed that fresh, a different outlook on things. And Maurice helped too, right? Penta says Sasha is way better than Leon all around. Yeah. Leon has better stats and goal scoring. Otherwise, he's not even close to Sasha at the perfect 200-foot game. Yeah, that's and same thing. Not saying Reinhardt's better than Draisaitl, but Reinhardt's 200-foot game has just gotten so good as well. Do I think we're recruiting Svechnikov to the Panthers? I don't know. I don't think so. I got a little bit confused when I heard the Vladimir Tarasenko rumor because it just seems like not what we need. It's like I said yesterday. The only thing that would make sense with that is if they want to move Luosterainen or Boquist or somebody down to solidify the fourth line. Man wants to know, what active former Panther do I think is most likely to return like Kulikov did? Well, I think the ship has sailed on Gabranson. I mean, you never know at some point. I mean, you got to think defense, right? Like I'm thinking about the forward groups. I mean, guys that we've drafted. Now, it wouldn't shock me, not that he played with us, but it wouldn't shock me if at some point, if you're talking about somebody that we drafted, Lawson Krause fits what we do. Never know if that name crops up, right? Doubtful he'd become too available, but anybody can become available. Damien, you think Markstrom, to be Spencer's backup maybe if Bob retires? Lomberg, yeah. Well, Lomberg is already back in Calgary in the sense that Calgary drafted Lomberg. So, like, Lomberg is like their Kulikov, where he he came back. I don't think he's coming back here. But if you talk about guys that we drafted, there's not a lot left. Could we ever see Nick Bjugstad come in and contribute to the fourth line? Probably not. Probably not. Never know if you could see Tippett come back at some point. But I think Lawson Krause would be the guy that, if he's still viable at some point, if we were looking for fourth line guys, and we, remember, we're going to have a lot of money to spend in a couple of years, depending on what Bob does. So if it's not necessarily a guy we drafted, I figure Yager's going to want to play in his 60s, right? He's played in every decade. I'm sure he's going to want to strap him up in his 60s. So he'll sign a, 2-week contract with us. But in all seriousness, past that, how old's Radko Gudas? I still would like to see a Mikkola Gudas pair. I still would love to see that, man. I want to see Connor McDavid try to split a Mikkola Gudas pair. That's what I want to watch that on television. Yeah, Bjugstad. Well, he hurt his back. Bjugstad was on a good trajectory, and then he had that back injury, and he just never got strong again. So Gudas is 34, same age as Kulikov, right? So that's probably not going to happen. Who else have we had that was young? I mean, not for nothing, but you never know how situations present. If Rangers ever had a fire sale, you could possibly see Trocheck back. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think it would just be hysterical if at some point Huberdeau came back. Right? Because I want to be in the room when he talks to Bill Zito again, because you all know how that went down. So I want to be in the room when they shake hands and make up. Yeah, Vinny was our own draft pick. I think third or fourth round. Zach Hyman, that's a good name. Spachi says Achari. That's really, yeah. Absolutely. I would love to have Achari around for a run. Now, a couple of people said he's kind of washed up. So, I don't watch the Penguins play. And Dadonov, I don't know, Metal. I mean, Dadonov, I don't know that he fits what we do. Like, I don't know where we would put him. He's like a, I don't want to say like a poor man's version of Rodriguez, but I'd rather have Rodriguez. Marcia, so. Huh. Yeah, Lawson Krause. That's what I was talking about earlier, Strafashi. Yeah. We had to give him away in the Dave Bolin deal. Damn it. But Marcia, so that's somebody I'd take back. Right? Lundell, Lusterine, and Marcia, so I'd do that. I'd do that for a playoff run. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's needed. But the point there, Pente, if they're looking to get, if they're looking at Tarasenko, I'd rather get Marchessault. Let's put it that way. If that's what they're trying to do, is upgrade the scoring on the third line and bolster the fourth line by moving somebody down, I'd rather have Marchessault than Tarasenko for sure. And Metal says Stenlund. Yeah, for sure. It's a good question. It's a good question because you got to think about the guys that, you ever think Mike Matheson be back? Ever think about Mike Matheson being back? That's a name. Sfossy, you say Tarasenko's better for team chemistry. Right. What's Marchessault's cap hit? You might be right there, Strafasi. I understand that part for sure. Let's see. We're supposed to have a like a blizzard here next week. Like Wednesday, Thursday, snow all day and all night. So he's got to cap it at 5.5 until 28, 29 when he'll be 38 years old. Ooh, that smells. That stinks. Dang, man. Even if you got, I mean, I guess if you got them to take half of it, yeah. Kenneth says Reimer will come back and back up Spencer when Bob retires. Reimer's starting to get old, isn't he? He's got to be. How old is James Reimer? He's got to be getting old now, right? James Reimer. I mean, he's 36. Yeah. Yeah, he's 36. The guys are getting older. Yeah. Reimer's the same age as Bob, right? Yeah. With Marchessault being 5.5, if they took half, so Damien says, I want Markstrom to back up Knight. I wouldn't say no. No, I know. Metal says Nashville set up their contracts to win a cup now. It's a bad situation for them that they're this bad. I know. It's bad. It's bad. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they got. When you look at that roster, it's like, did everybody just get old at the same time? Right? I mean, did everybody's play just drop? You know how a guy gets to a certain age, his play just drops off a little bit. Yeah, Pente says 1 year would be good, but so many years is no thanks to Marchessault. Yeah, can't have that. Can't have that. No way. I mean, Zito's done such a good job when you look at the cap situation and the ages that the guys will be as they start to get older. You know, as Barkov starts 34, 35, Kachuk 33, as these guys start to get a little bit older, we're going to have enough money that we are going to be able to, if we wanted to do this as they got older, if we wanted to start moving guys down the lineup and get reinforcements, whether they're re-signing our young guys or going out and getting younger free agents, we're going to have the money to do that. So you could actually see a situation where, you know, years down the road, but you could see maybe a Barkov move to 2 or 3C as he gets older because we have the money and the resources to put a young kid at 1 or 2C. Because the way that with the cap going up and the way he's structured those contracts, we're gonna be in really good shape. Pente says the Stamkos contract is horrible, still scratching it. I know. Very similar to what that was my thought process when Dubas went to Pittsburgh. And I started seeing what they were doing. I'm like, what are they doing? They're like completely reinvesting in this old core. It never made any sense. Giving Jari all that money and just it didn't make any sense. Why bring in Dubas to do that? It was a dumb move. Yeah, exactly, Pente. Savashi says, I'd keep Ekblad as the second pair, but nothing else. Here's the problem, though. I'm not saying you're wrong, but the problem we have is that Ekblad's speed is palatable because Forsling makes up for him, right? Forsling takes care of most of the problems that Ekblad's lack of speed creates. Mikula's not going to be able to do that. I think the only way you can really make Ekblad into what we need him to be is on the bottom pair, where you just tell him you're a bottom pair, stay-at-home defenseman. No pinching unless it's just an absurdly obvious situation. Because it's working because Forsling, right? But you put Ekblad with Mikula ain't going to make up for Ekblad's mistakes. It'd be a disaster. Hey, True says, I'm here going to Aaron Lewis concert with my swollen jaw. Wait, now you got two things. Hold on a second. You had a hernia the other day. True. He says, I'm here going to the Aaron Lewis concert with my swollen jaw from infection under your crown and another tooth they saved, and some good chocolate goodies and special cigars with some good whiskey. Damn. Nick, you having a hard time, man. How's your back? How's your back? You every time you're on the stream, you got a new body part falling apart, man. What's going on? What's Dee Dee doing to you, man? Huh? Blink twice if you need reinforcements. Bente says Ekblad is at best 5 million D, at worst 50K. Yeah. Oh, man. Bente says, what happened with Burns and Carlson's and Carlson? Yeah, I mean, Carlson's contract, I mean, he signed for another 50 years. It's unmovable, right? It's just a bad situation Nashville and Pittsburgh find themselves in. Drew says your bag's better, but not 100%. But then everything else fell apart, man. Damn. What'd you do? What's going on with the karma, Ned? What happened? Huh? I feel bad for you, man. But enjoy the concert. And enjoy the concert. You know, just watch out with the teeth infections, because those things get dangerous if you don't, if it's not taken care of right, especially under a crown. You don't want to get that stuff in your bloodstream, Then you end up on all sorts of medication and everything. Did you watch Four Nations last night, Nick? Yeah, Nick is not wrong. All you youngsters watching, take care of yourself, or you'll go to shit when you get old. Even if you did take care of yourself, right? You're on antibiotics. All right. Yeah, be careful with that. That sucks because that can't help your back. Pente says Dubas is the worst GM in the league. I never understood why Pittsburgh made the move. All Dubas had done with all that talent and all the everything in Toronto was win one playoff series. That's all Dubas did. And then Pittsburgh's sitting there with his aging core. And what I thought was they were hiring him to clean house and to rebuild. It made no sense to go get him to do what. I mean, you got to figure they talked to him before they hired him. Was that the plan? We're going to recommit. Did management really feel like they could still win a cup with Crosby and Malkin? Hey, Jason says, I'm kind of sad Sweden didn't win. Yeah, it was anticlimactic ending to a good game. But once you got to overtime, you knew the high-powered talent on Canada. It was just a matter of time. Steven says, my brother informed me last night that his daughter's math teacher's son is a sixth rounder of ours from 23. Probably won't amount to anything, but it was neat to hear. That's pretty cool. Your daughter's math teacher's son. Okay. Never know. Pente says I would fire him ASAP if I was the boss. But what we don't know, Pente, is that what management wanted? Like, you assume that they sat down with him and they were on the same page, right? Like if management said, hey, we want you to try to win another cup with Crosby and Malkin. I mean, now, of course, you didn't have to give Jari that contract. That was stupid. But I doubt it went down where, I mean, you got to assume this was kind of the plan, right? Soflo says, I used to drink 15 drinks a night during my peak college year. Oh, boy. Yeah, I know people that have been like that. I never could do the alcohol because it upsets my stomach. I got lucky. What's that? Nick says, my dad always warned me you're going to burn your body out. Well, he was right. Yeah. So if I'm 6 months graduated and I can barely drink a 6-pack now before stuff starts getting wild. Hey, it's good to have low tolerance. So Flo, one hit. One. That's all I need is one. And I'm like, it's all good, man. One. I don't need I get a little bottle like this, a little quarter, lasts me 3 years. Lasts me 3 years. Because it's just like one and I'm good. It's good to be a lightweight sometimes. Drew says, I watched Four Nations. I think it's great, the best in the world. I liked it better than the All. Oh, yeah, better than the All-Star garbage, for sure. Kenneth says, 2 more years, Nordiques fans will invade Pittsburgh like they do with any team that can't draw fans. Yeah, and who said, hold on, I screwed up here. Hold on a second. I lost my chat. Okay. Boy, what happened here? My laptops. All right. Dubas is just buddy with players and coasting and taking salary, right? Best salesman ever, right? Yeah, he probably did sell himself. Steven says, I'm going to bet on the underdog for each game. Surely there will be one upset. Almost happened last night for you if Nylander or Zibanejad could have done something good in overtime. You could kind of tell at the end of the game that Sweden was really pressing to win in regulation because they kind of had to know what would happen. If it got to overtime. Just Canada just had so much firepower. What do you guys think about what do you think about if they wanted to move to the 10-minute overtime permanently? What do you guys think about that? If they wanted to move to the 10-minute overtime permanently instead of the 5. I kind of liked it. It would definitely probably reduce the number of shutouts by about 80%. Yeah, Ethan, we had that question up above. Why did Reinhart not touch the ice in overtime? Steven, yeah, you like that, right? Yeah. True, I have a feeling you're right there on going on the team plan. We've got a very, not easy, but a light schedule in March. Kenneth says 10-minute overtime, no shootouts, bring back ties. Huh. So what, 3 points for a regulation win? What would the point system be then? Would overtime only be fighting for the extra point? Drew says, I like the 10-minute. I heard Bedman's testing it out. I mean, it would be better than the shootout for sure. There was talks in Toronto that he loved his star players too much that he couldn't do any meaningful trades. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, Pente. Yeah. Kenny says, I say you tie, you both lose the extra point. Oh. That's interesting. Oh, that would make, that's not a bad idea. SoFlo says, I don't get the hate for the shootouts. It's literally so exciting. It's not like they happen all the time. So you like the 5-minute. I don't necessarily hate the shootouts, but the 3-on-3 overtime, I like that much more, certainly, especially as you get towards the end of the overtime. Guys are going to get so worn out. Yeah, 3-2-1, same as the league. Yeah. Right, so 3 for a regulation win, 2 for an overtime win, and 1 point if you finish tied. So, yeah, that's huge motivation, right? I mean, they're already playing for the extra point, but it also will give some teams some huge motivation to win it in regulation, right? Because then you're dealing with, especially if you're playing a team, instead of a 4-point game, it's a 6-point game, right? That'd be crazy. True likes 10 minutes 4-on-4 winner, 2 points winner takes all. Tie after 10 is a split. So then you're only giving out 2 points a night, right? The only problem with that is, it could be a good problem depending on how things go, but that could really leave, that could really make it tough for teams that are out of a playoff spot to have a chance. That would eliminate a lot of teams a lot earlier if they didn't have the opportunity to get that 1 point. Kenneth says Legacy NHL won't like 3-2-1. Well, yeah, it kind of changes all the points. That would make it easier for teams to clinch spots a lot earlier, right? 3 points for a regulation win, that's it's a lot of damage come standings time. There's a lot of different ways it could work, but there's a lot of unintended consequences of each different way, right? Yeah, I agree. I agree there, Steven, about the 3-on-3. I don't think 4-on-4. I don't think 4-on-4 would guarantee as much scoring as 3-on-3. Maybe you do 5 minutes of 4-on-4, then 5 minutes of 3-on-3. Could do that. Could split it up a little bit. But mainly it's the point system. 6 points is a lot, right? 6 points is a lot. That's a big swing in the standings for sure. I like the 3-on-3 though. I like that. Hey, at least it's not like it used to be. They would just play 20 minutes of clutch and grab, take their tie, and go home, right? The overtime games before, people would try to win, but basically everybody was, most nights, teams would just be playing it as safe as they could, 3-on-3. I just wonder what the players think. I wonder if the players, if they enjoy getting as exhausted as it looks like they're getting. And it certainly would give an advantage to teams like the Panthers, who have those training camps where they're, crazy in shape. Orlando says McDavid's speed at the beginning of last night's game was crazy to watch. That dude is on a different planet. He really is. Which is why I understand he didn't want to pass the puck. But he could also have created some opportunities for his team to score some goals by using that speed and drawing the defense in, and then doing what Crosby does, which is make the exceptional pass to the wide open dude. Kenneth says, one other idea that I have needs to be ironed out. 3-on-3 in overtime, you can't retreat past the blue line with the puck. Like over, so you can come to center, but you can't come like all the way back. So they'd have to make the rule, I guess the puck can't cross the blue line, right? Guess that's what they would have to do. That would definitely be, that could definitely cause some damage goal-wise, for sure. Yeah. That's what Sweden did half the time last night when they got the puck at the beginning of overtime. They looked like they were just trying to play keep away for the full 10 minutes. She says, we used to play 1-on-3 when I was a kid playing street hockey. The other kids would flinch up when I was skating at them with the puck and the goalie would get out of the way. Yeah, he's a puck hog and a power skater. You don't think that would work? Kenneth's idea? Can't retreat past the blue line? I mean, it would add an element. It would add an element. I guess the question would be what happens if the puck gets sent that way, right? Like what would happen if the puck got knocked that way and it went past the blue line? Somebody has to go retrieve it. You know, that would be that'd be difficult to enforce. Trying to figure out, you know, almost like be like an icing call where you got to know whose stick was on the puck, how the puck get out of the net or out of the zone, and is there, you know, what's the penalty for that, right? What's the consequences? Right. True says that's how they change lines and regroup. It would cause too many whistles. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, would make changing difficult. It would make changing difficult, that's for sure. And think about that. Get Dubas to retrieve the puck. Well, it was a fun game, though. Lauren says, first game together. He doesn't play like that in Edmonton. Yeah, I know that. He said, but I'm glazing his skates. We want them to be vulnerable so USA wins on Saturday. Hey, I get it, right? He doesn't play like that. And it's okay. It's you know, international competition. It's okay for the players to do that some. Kind of says, as I said, it's a thought that could be ironed out. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think about. I like the idea. Enforcement would be the hard part. Maybe it would be something like maybe you can't circle back more than 2 lines. So like if you're in the offensive zone, you can only go past the blue line and the red line, but not the other blue line. But if you get the puck, it still wouldn't work because they could just pass it and say, see? There's a lot of intricacies there. Jason says, if the opposing player sends it, then your team can retrieve it. Or if your team sends it, only the goalie can. Okay. Only the goalie can play it. Otherwise, the opposing team gets a face-off in your zone if the original team touch it. I like that because that makes the goal. That's a good idea because then the goalie's got to handle the puck, and that's always an adventure. Yeah. Oh, but wait. No, I can't do that, right? Because then the opposing team would be dumping the puck into the zone on purpose. A lot of intricacies there. Because if the opposing player sends it into your team, then the team can retrieve it. But if your team sends it, only the goalie can play. Right. So what about deflections, Jason? Because you could create an odd man rush by banking this puck off of Florida Panthers, right? So Dallas banks the puck off Forsling's skate and it goes in. So did we send it in or did Dallas send it in, right? Because now if they say we sent it in, we can't go get it, and the other team could be using like rebounds off of our guys to put the puck into the zone. It caused some craziness, though. Orlando says, injuries are scary, but I'm so glad the best of the best are playing hard with each other. Yeah, it's so much better than the All-Star game. I feel bad for Theodore, not so bad for Vegas. SoFlo says, basketball has a backcourt violation. Hockey should have one in overtime. Or maybe a clock. At the very least, maybe a clock, right? where once you get it behind, if you get it behind your goal line, you've got to be out of your zone within 7 seconds, 10 seconds. That could help. That could cut down on some of the confusion, right? From the time that you get possession behind the line. It's another way to do it. Jason said that, so that would be considered indirect contact. So no possession, any team can retrieve the puck. Gotcha. Drew says the one thing that would help is not being allowed to clear the zone to re-enter once you're in, unless your defending team clears the puck. Right. In terms of Bennett not playing, they just felt like, Coop was going to put all his players in, obviously. And I guess Konechny was sick, and so Bennett practiced for him. But somebody's got to be the scratches, and for whatever reason, Cooper decided that Bennett was the scratch, which is fine by me, right? Kenny says, how about the reverse Ekblad rule? One player must not be in the defending zone at all time. Yeah. It's an interesting thought, though, Kenneth. It would take some working out. Like just exactly what you said. It would have to be worked through. But maybe the idea of a clear clock instead of a shot clock or a pitch clock. Like when you get the puck behind the blue line, you got 7 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it is, to get out of your own zone. Right? And, they could make it a simpler type of thing. Like, okay, let's say you're leaving your zone. You're behind the net. You've got 10 seconds to get out of your own zone, right? Now, what you're not allowed to do is you're not allowed to get past center ice, and instead you must enter the zone. In other words, if you get past center ice, you can't circle back and go back behind your blue line, right? Because that does happen. That does eat some time, and teams do try to catch a rest during that. That would certainly lead to some other goals, and it would lead to the opposing teams putting pressure on the puck carrier. That could lead to some fun, for sure. Right, Ken said the goal is for fan enjoyment, not to add rules. Right, I get it. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening, Orlando. I'm sure as they're saving Bennett for the Kachucks. That's going to be wild seeing those two go at it, or those three anyway. So, all right, everybody. Got to roll, got to run, got to get Kyle to the gym. Got to get all my other work done. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for being here. Always have a good time. 8 o'clock tonight, U.S., Finland, Panthers, whatever. It's Chucky versus his own team is basically what we've got. Is Chucky versus his own team tonight. So we'll see you at 8. Appreciate all the support. Members podcast to be up about a half hour, 45 minutes.